Bees are angry, my friend. Hi YouTube. So welcome back to Brandon's Bees. This is going to be episode 14. So the Varroa Mites have almost destroyed the hive. Being a natural beekeeper, these are the risks you always run, and this is my first hive. So I came back this week and checked. Today is the 27th. Yesterday I checked, which was the 26th of September 2016. So it's been about 13 days since our last inspection. When I opened up the bottom board last time, there was covered in Varroa Mites again. So even after doing the sugar shake, I came back a couple weeks later and they were all, it was covering the bottom board, big stacks of Varroa Mites. And then I noticed that there's not a lot of action happening in the hive. Remember before I had a third box on here, and inside the third box was all my flow frames. I opened that up, there was nothing going on inside the flow frames, no bees whatsoever. So I took that box off, and they need less space. I went through the hive completely yesterday, and I'm going to go through it again right now. There's no new brood. It's all hatched out, and I'll demonstrate that to you. I'll show you. So integrated pest management. Screen bottom board. I have a screen bottom board. I let them build their own combs. I use foundationless frames for their own comb. So they build what they need. This bee doesn't want me here right now. So where was I? Took the third box off, went through the hive, and no new brood. So this is my only plan. The only hope I have. I'm going to consolidate all the used frames that are being used, down into one box only. I'm going to put an entrance reducer on, which I already have. I'm going to leave this open so mites can continue to fall through. And in fact, I'm going to take the bottom board off altogether so they just fall out. I don't need this in anymore. It's still pretty hot. Today was over 100, even being September 27th. It's still warm enough where I don't need to close them off just yet. They still need a lot of ventilation. The number of bees has severely gone down. And when I inspected the beehive yesterday, I also found some with the shriveled wing virus, or deformed wing virus. So it's not looking great. As a natural beekeeper, this is kind of one of the things that can happen. And again, this is all learning experience for me. So it happened to me, and next year I might do things a little differently, but we'll see. Still some bees inside, so that's promising. The bees I have look pretty big and fairly healthy, so I'm just going to do what I can to try to save the hive for whatever happens, and that's the best I can do. This frame I know I'm going to keep because it's full of honey, so they need that honey. This frame is also full of honey, and you can see the sugar I put in there yesterday that they've pretty much cleaned out. And this one's full of honey even if it isn't capped. This is all honey. So I'm going to save this one as well. This one is also, it's hard to see because the sun's gone down, but there's honey, all kinds of stuff, no new eggs. And see, at one time this was all full of brood, but it's all hatched out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open this one up, and it looks like a bee that's developing. So we'll see if they'll cover that back up. I don't know if it's going to survive or not. Okay, so this one, you can see here, this was all brood at one time, but it's all hatched out, and there's still some brood to come out. There's also a couple of queen cups here, and I have to say, yesterday when I checked the hive, I did not see the queen. So I don't know if they're trying to raise a new one or what's going on, but part of my thing this time was also to try to see if I can find the queen, because they may be queenless. And this one's also full of honey. So there's 1, 2, looks like 3 queen cells growing, and one of them has a viable larva inside. Both of them, all 3 of them have larvae that are fairly fresh. See these 3 queen cups? There's larvae inside. So this one definitely needs to stay because they may be raising a new queen. So actually, I'm starting to rethink this whole thing. I'm starting to think I'm just going to leave the 2 boxes. And it looks like they may have enough to support the 2 boxes. As you can see, the bees are bubbling up right here, and I think they're trying to reestablish themselves. I'm looking at these bees here. I don't see a lot of Varroa, but you can't judge by what you see. The queen could be gone. The queen could be old and they're going to supersede her. The queen could be not laying anymore, and again, she's old. There's no way to know. I do know there are 3 queen cups that I'm going to leave. They're here late in the season. There's no point removing them now. I'm guessing because they're late in the season, it's not swarm season, because they're trying to raise queens right now, the queen may be gone. And if that's the case, I don't want to mess it up. So let's take this top box off, and I'll see if there's any frames underneath that don't need to be there. So this one's all still full of sugar. Let's start here in the middle. See this frame? There's tons of honey in it and pollen. Uncapped. This is nectar, but this is all capped honey. And the white stuff is from my sugar shake yesterday. This is all pollen. This is all honey. I don't know. I think I just need to leave them. You know, like, it's not cold enough yet for me to want to mess around. I'm just going to leave them. I've decided I'm going to leave them. My plan was to consolidate down to 1 box, but I think it's too early for that. Looking through the hive, I think I should just leave them. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, a couple of things I've established from checking the hive this 2nd day in a row. There's 3 queen cups that I didn't notice before, so that means the bees are trying to raise queens. I don't know why. I assume it's because the queen's gone, whether she died or absconded or what. I don't think they swarmed because I never saw any swarm cells, although with the heavy mite load they could have just left. I have no idea. The other side of that coin, they're trying to raise new queens, and if that's the case, I need to let them do it, because if they're trying to raise queens now, late in the season, that means they're queenless, in my opinion. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. And also, if you have any advice for me, please leave comments, because I don't really know what I'm doing. I just, learn things from books. I have no experience in this. That's kind of what I think is going to happen. So I think they have enough bees to maintain these 2 brood boxes. I thought maybe I was going to consolidate it down to 1, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave them both here, at least for the time being. It's still very warm here. I don't need to worry about them being too cold trying to heat these 2 boxes. Later in the season, maybe late October, November, when it starts to get really cold, I'll think about maybe moving them down to 1, but they still have tons of honey all through this whole hive. I did put an entry introducer on. I'll show you that. What I did was I had to use a standard 8-frame entry introducer because they don't make one for a flow hive. I just used a standard 8-frame entry introducer with the 2 different hole cutouts, and I had to shave it down. So I sawed down one part. It's about 3/16 of an inch too wide. So I shaved it down with the table saw, and then I had to sand it down to get it to fit. So now all the bees are kind of clumped up right here, but they're going to figure it out. So there's actually a small entrance right here, and then also a little small entrance right there, but they can fit through it. That'll help them with their numbers because the numbers have dwindled. I mean, I'm sure part of that is from the Varroa, but I also think part of that is either the queen's dead, but there's no new brood. Any brood that's in there was laid a long time ago. Although there is some young brood, there's no eggs. There's some very young brood, and it looks like they're using that brood to try to raise 3 new queens. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping they're able to supersede that queen and she's viable at least through the winter, and then in the spring she can go out and mate and this hive can keep going if it survives the winter. But those are the questions that I'm going to have throughout the cold season, which in Northern California won't start till November, December. Alright, tie this hive back up, and then I'm going to leave them alone for a while. I think about a month, maybe. There's no real reason for me to check them now. I'm not harvesting honey. They're kind of on their own. So, let's hope for the best. Thanks for watching.